Well, welcome everyone to Wise Women Weekly, presented by Enlightened Networking. My name is Robin Blank Muscari, and I'm in Bozeman, Montana, and I'm here with my co-host, Moni Patterson in Columbus, Ohio. And we are here every week to be of service to you. We want to, first of all, thank you for taking the time to be with us and let you know that we're here to share insights, education, support, resources to really support you in your personal and professional life as professional networkers in the field of network marketing and direct sales. And this is a place that's a safe place for people from any company to come because we are here in a generic place. We don't promote any products or companies. We're here just to be of service to you, and we really welcome your input and what you would like to hear more of. So we are very excited. Moni and I met through this profession and discovered how aligned we personally are in our beliefs in our profession and approach things from a little bit more of the softer side. And one of the things that we are deeply connected about in our profession and at a foundation of our success is connection. And so today we have a wonderful topic on the mindset of the super connector. And before we jump in, I want to talk a little bit about Moni's background because this is a woman who has a huge appetite for learning and uses life as her school. Although she has a master's degree, much of her education has come personally from living life full out and deeply learning from the masters, and she has spent countless hours researching, learning from the giants, and taking complex things and simplifying them. That's one of the gifts of what we're going to do today. Is our hope and intention today is that you personally get some ahas, some epiphanies that will make a huge difference in your personal effectiveness and make your life a whole lot easier. So, Moni, you ready to get started?
I'm ready, Robin, and hello, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us, you ladies and gentlemen, I should say, for joining us on another weekly episode of Wise Women Weekly. We're excited and about today and about continuing to bring you value and hope that you've been getting amazing value. I've gotten so much out of being able to participate here, and just even last week with Terry Warner was amazing, and so we're looking forward today to sharing more with you.
Love it. So I guess it's time to get started. Okay. We're calling this the mindset of a super connector. And Moni, what do you mean by mindset of a super connector? And then let's get into talking about what do you mean by connection and why is it so important?
Awesome. That's a great question. Okay, so when I was thinking about, what I do, people ask me all the time, what is it that you do in this industry? They'll ask me, well, how do you close people? How do you sell people? How do you, recruit people? And I always share that I don't seek to recruit, I don't seek to sell, and I don't seek to, to anything other than connect and build a new bridge. And so the mindset that I always have is, in what way am I going to enhance this person's life? And hopefully that'll be a reciprocal thing that will happen. And so my mindset of a super connector, and the reason why I say that is because it's so important that we seek to connect. And what I mean by connect is that, when we need to first find out, if that person, will be, a good fit for our business. But even if they're not a good fit for our business, there's so much more to our lives. I have so many friends that have never been in a business of mine, but just by the connection alone, we have just been able to do incredible things together and build wonderful, wonderful lives. And so when I take business, when I look at business, I'm always looking at it from the standpoint of connecting. And so I don't call myself a super recruiter or a super business builder. I consider myself a super connector because I'm a person who seeks to make friends and to seek to build relationships. So that's the mindset, and that's why I wanted to call it the mindset of a super connector. We were thinking about, what we were going to say, and I said, you know what? At the end of the day, that's what I do. That's what Robin does, And when you look at the real true history of the most successful people in this space, the people who make the best relationships that they can call on, from years and years and years ago, are the people who masterfully connected. So why is it so? Why is connection so important? Was part two of the question that you asked. Well, the way I see it, there's nothing more important than the connections that we make in our lives, whether it's from a personal level or a professional level. When we look at all that is said and done, how do we make money? How do we, build relationships? All of those things are from other people. We all wish that money grew on trees, and that, and that it would all magically fall out of the sky all the time. But it doesn't work that way. It works through the power of connection and learning people. So it really, the way I look at it, is more like an energy exchange. And so it's two like-minded, hopefully, individuals that are building those relationships. But even if we aren't like-minded, the power of connection and the law of connection teaches us how to learn from each other so that we can build those connections and hopefully then build other mutually beneficial things as a result.
Whoa. Well, you said a lot of things, and in the very beginning, you said some of those words that I know a lot of people have a hard time with, like close, sell, recruit, and
Yeah.
to realize the people in our business that are most successful don't use those really. What we're doing is really connecting and developing the relationship, because from that place, the magic happens. And I think, at Wise Women Weekly, a lot of what we're doing here is really supporting people from what we call the softer side of building businesses. And so I love the way you share that, Moni, because it really is the magic. It's the key. It's the thing that makes people, like you said, effective in all parts of our life, not just in our business, but every part of our life. So let's take this a little bit deeper. That word recruiting is a big buzzword in our business. So if you can go a little bit deeper of talking about the distinction between recruiting and connecting.
Well, one of the things that I'll say about that, and Robin, you are so good at connecting. Before I answer that question, you are just the way you do it. People automatically relate to you, and they feel connected. And I think that that's just something that you carry. But when I look at recruiting, for me, it's not a word that I like, because for me, it carries an energy of desperation. Sometimes, when people say, "No, I just can't recruit anybody. I just can't get people to buy. I just can't get people into my business." That's a totally different mindset, because when they're thinking about it, they're thinking about, what can I get from the person? I need you in my business. I got to, and so the energy that comes along with that for me has always been, every time I see someone and they come to me with that same thing, it always comes with a desperation to it, and or an energy that doesn't lead to long-lasting relationship building, which is why people not only join you in business, but they stay with you. One thing I noticed about people that seek to recruit is that oftentimes people don't stay in their business. They might join them, but because there was never a connection, that you never got to know them as a person, to see what it is that they want, what they desire, what their goals are, it ends up being one of those things that they're here today, and gone tomorrow. And then, oftentimes people will take that and they'll reflect back and think that it's the fault of the business. Well, no, it's not the fault necessarily of the business model, but mainly it's the fact that we did not seek to connect first and foremost. So that's the reason why I have a very strong distinction between recruiting and connecting. So whenever people say, how do you recruit people and how do you do this? It's because I don't recruit people. I never, ever, ever seek to recruit anyone, So to me, I like to think of it like, like-minded individuals joining and forming a family. That's one of the things that I've always done, Robin, is my teams, whenever I have any business, for me, we form a family. That's how I think about it, and as family, I'm thinking of myself as, a person who is going to care about them as a family would care about them. I want to know about their business. I want to know their hopes and their dreams and their desires, just like I would any other person in my family. So when I think about it from that standpoint, they feel nurtured, but they also feel that they're in an environment to thrive. When a fish is sick, I heard someone share this with me, and I don't even know who quoted it, but they said when a fish is sick, you don't treat the fish, you treat the water, because you're treating the environment. So I try to create an atmosphere of connection and making sure that everyone knows they're a part of a family. And it's just like that whole thing with the first follower. He's out there and he's dancing. We've all seen the video of the first follower, and he's dancing all crazy, and then somebody else joins him and he starts dancing dancing with them, even though their family, that family, they literally on that field created a family of people that were just dancing and having fun. But guess what? They all wanted to be part of something. They saw that happening and they wanted to be connected. And so it ended up being this massive thing because they were enjoying one another. It wasn't about being tough or, having that mindset of, well, how many people did we recruit today? So my question is always, who can I meet today and who can I serve today? So I live in that question of who am I to serve in what capacity? And I allow myself to be led to them and them to me.
Wow. So I hope everyone really got a strong sense of that, because that's a major paradigm shifter for people, that we're really not out to recruit people, but to connect to people. And coming from that place that Moni's talking about of how can we be of service? How can we create a nurturing environment that creates a team, a family, a culture, a safe place where people feel like they can learn and grow? Because when people feel, there's that wonderful quote, I think it's from Jim Rohn, and he says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And what I'm hearing Moni say is, it's coming from that place of caring and knowing that the right people are going to show up too when we come from that place of true service. Now, Moni, I know you made a significant shift when you got into this work, and I don't remember if it was Les Brown or who it was that you heard that you had this big aha about this and where this began. Can you share your story about where this all started?
Sure. Yes, I would love to. So I was a lot like, a lot of people are in the industry. I was, I would do, okay. I had a closing ratio of, I think, maybe 25 to 30%.
Which is
And
good.
yeah, it was pretty good, and so I was okay, but you know how that gnawing on the inside of you says, I know that there's something missing and something else that, I want to learn. And so I had met a young lady from Toronto, and she shared with me a gentleman that I'd never heard of before, Tom Big Al Schreider. And Big
Okay.
Al came, yes, yes, yes. And so Big Al has a workshop, and he's coming to Columbus, and I'm like, and that was like the same day that she told me that he was coming. And so I stopped everything. I'm like, okay, found out if I could pay at the door, which I could. And so when I got there, I just knew that it was going to be just jam packed, like just busting out the seams. I was hoping to find a seat. Well, lucky for me, there were maybe 10 people there. I don't think a lot of people, knew that it was going on. And so I was actually excited about that because I knew that it would give me some time to really ask, the deeper questions. And I got an education that day that just blew me away. When I learned about, how to connect with people, it really wasn't about, it was how people make decisions. But when he shared how people make decisions, he was really sharing how to connect with a person so that if your business is a good fit for them, they will be open enough to be able to hear and respond accordingly. And so when I learned that, I mean, my closing ratio that very next week, I mean, I don't, this is going to sound crazy, but it went up to 97%. I mean, almost every single person I talked to, it was just boom, 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 boom. And I remember thinking to myself, like, this is awesome. I remember thinking that because, you go from, what I consider at the time mediocre results because I have, this mindset where I wanted everyone to be able to see this, and I was in an amazing company and with amazing products, that everyone needed. And so, but I just didn't know how to do it. And so initially I was like everybody else, Robin, and everyone listening, I wanted to get more recruits. I wanted to hit the bonuses, and so I put a lot of pressure on myself because I wanted to win the contest and all of those things. But what I noticed was that in my mind, and in my emotion, the energy that I was carrying was one that I would tend to pressure people. I could, kind of go too far, we'll say, well, what do you mean you don't understand? This is an amazing business, I just didn't get how they didn't get it, And so when I went there and learned how people make decisions, that I had to share with them first my story. I had to get to know them. I had to, find out about them. And one thing that I learned is that people loved sharing about their lives. That's why form is so important. When we talk about foreign family, occupation, recreation, and then your message, after that. It's so important. And I didn't realize how many people wanted to be able to share their lives with us. I didn't realize it. And once I did realize it though, it just really changed everything. And I said, you know what? I was making my business a lot more difficult than it had to be, because I was seeking all of the wrong things. I was seeking to win. I was seeking to recruit. I was seeking to make the sales. I was seeking to hit those certain things. And it's not that you can't have income goals. Those are great to have. And it's great to want to, to win the contest and those types of things. But when I didn't carry the mindset of connection along with that, I wasn't in balance. And that's what you have to have. You've got to have that proper balance and understanding so that you carry the right energy so that people will be open to you.
Whoa. So you went from a 25 to 30% closing ratio to in the 90s overnight.
Yep.
And you went from working hard to working easy. And that one shift that happened was you realizing that it's about understanding how people make decisions, and that making the connection first is the key.
Absolutely. And here was the bombshell that he gave me, Robin, and I'll never forget this. He said,
I love bombshells.
Yeah, he said, people do, no matter what you say, no matter how knowledgeable you are about your products, no matter how much you could know about your compensation plan, no matter how much you love your company, people make decisions based upon zero information. And I looked at him and I said, zero information? That doesn't that doesn't sound right. Because I spent all my time needing to learn. He said it again. People make decisions based upon zero information. And I said, okay. And so I had to sit with that for a minute. But the whole time I know he could see my face going, that doesn't sound right, But then when he explained the difference between the conscious and the subconscious mind, and that in the subconscious mind, decisions are made 9 seconds prior to it reaching the conscious mind. In other words, when you think that, so what you think that you've thought about and made a decision about, you actually made a decision about 9 seconds before you even realized in your conscious mind that you made that decision, right?
Wow.
So I thought it was really, really fascinating, that was the first thing. And I really wrestled within my conscious mind about how that was even possible and how that was true. And so when he talked about the programs, the many, many programs that the subconscious mind runs on, that's when I started opening up. So for example, let's take 2 restaurants. You see one full restaurant and one empty restaurant, and they're right beside each other. Okay, so which one are we automatically going to go to? We're automatically, say again?
The full one, of course.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to go to the full one. Why? Because we are programmed on the survival program that says, and the one that says we don't want to be left alone, okay? And so when we don't want to be left alone, we say, okay, this is where the most people are, so this is where I want to be, okay? Even though there may be amazing food over in the restaurant that doesn't have as many people, even though they may have great service, subconsciously we are already programmed to go to the full one, because what does that tell us? There's amazing food here, amazing service. People are already saying yes to it. It's the program that makes us not want to be alone, okay? We want to be a part of the crowd. We want to be a part of the story. And so when I learned that, and he began to share all these different examples as to why we do not make decisions totally based upon information, that was really, really, really huge for me.
That it's interesting. I got that same information from Michael Gerber many years ago. He said people make decisions on an emotional level. Yep. And then they get the rational armament to support the emotional decision. Yeah. And, it's like why things are colored a certain way, and designs and types and all kinds of things. So there's things that draw people, and what goes on is at a much deeper level. So learning all the right stuff is not what's going to make us successful, but understanding how to do that deeper connection. So let's take it the next step and say, okay, I want to present my business to someone. How do I begin the process? How do I break the ice, so to speak? How do I begin that process of making the connection?
I love that question, because that's one that so many people struggle with. And what I've noticed is that, a lot of times, especially today, people will hide a lot behind social media. As a matter of fact, today I had two people just send me their link. Have never had a conversation with me. They don't know if I'm open, and I know we say these things, a lot, but they're that important for you guys to understand the importance of them. But just today, two people sent me their link. Now, that's what part of the reason why form is so important. We talk about that, over and over and over again with getting to know people and so on and so forth. Now, what I would say to that, Robin, would you mind sharing with me the full question one more time?
When you're wanting to share your business.
Right. I got it. Okay, I got it.
Got it.
Got it. So when I start off by getting to know the person, I do not share my business right away. And I might not share it on the second time that we have an encounter. It depends on how far we've gotten in the first conversation. How much did we get to know each other? How much did they want to share about themselves and about their lives, right? And so when I find those things out first and we get to that place, I never, ever, ever, especially if it's a brand new person, but even if it's somebody I already know. So let's start with someone that I already know. Okay, so let's say that I already know their family. I'm going to ask, how's Bobby? How's Susie? How's your husband? I'm going to ask those questions, especially if we haven't been in contact for a while. Secondly, I'm going to ask them, how's work going? Are you still enjoying it? So on and so forth. Are you still at, are you still at IBM? And how is that going for you? Are you still happy? And those types of things. Have you guys been on any vacations lately? Because I will know that person. So I can ask those questions. We can have dialogue. And it's not just about asking them a series of questions. It's really more about the interactive conversation. And so, typically if I'm asking about their family, they will turn around and ask me about mine. But still in my mind, I'm remembering just to keep the conversation flowing, how things are going. So a lot of times, by the time I get to the occupation, they're now asking me, well, are you enjoying what it is that you're doing? And I'll say, oh, I really am. Are you still, networking? Yes. Well, what are you doing now? And I'll just say, well, we'll get to me in a moment. I want to hear about you, because the truth of the matter is I do. And so now they feel important. They feel, that I do want to know them. I've got plenty of time to talk about myself, but first and foremost, I want to hear about them because I want to hear, first of all, before I start sharing my business, how far to go. Are they open, and so on and so forth. And so when I do that, my first thing is get to know them, and when I feel the time is appropriate, then I begin to share my business. But I always open it up with this. And I know that we had talked about this prior to this, but I always ask these questions. I simply say, and I want you guys to write this down. Before I tell you about the program I'm in, let me first tell you how it happened to me. I always do that because now what am I doing? I'm taking down any walls, anything that says, hey, someone's trying to sell me something. I'm literally wanting to share with them how it happened for me, and what led me there. And something that I might have shared with them might resonate.
She froze. Moni? Well, Moni froze for a little bit, and let's hope she unfreezes really soon. So let me talk a little bit about what she was sharing by getting connected and sharing how this happened. And then she's going to go more into that. But having people, it takes a muscle to develop that connection, a muscle because our nature is to want to talk about ourselves. Our nature is, if we're really passionate and excited about our company, if we're really, over the top about whatever products we're involved with, or we've had this amazing experience and we want to share it, it takes a muscle of maturity to actually hold back and not jump in and get all about us. Because every time we do that, it's all about us. And what Moni's talking about is how can we really have this connection be about them, and how is it going to be a fit for them or not? And as we get more related and find out what's going on with them and find out if they're open, it may or may not even be appropriate to talk about what we have to offer, but to really realize that it's not about us, it's really about them. And I think we got Moni back. Are you back, Moni? Do we have you back? Well, she's getting close. She'll be back in a minute. Okay, she'll be here soon. There she is. Hello, you there? She'll be back. So, the thing that I loved hearing from Moni is how quickly the shift happened for her when she woke up from trying really hard and doing it the way a lot of people tell you to do it is, how many people you're going to recruit today, how many this, how many that, and then realize that it's a shift and it's actually easier than that, and then amazing things happen. So, welcome back, Moni.
Welcome. I don't know which one of us. I was still talking. I didn't know if you were gone or if I was gone, but hey, we're back.
Well, you froze out from us, but I'm glad you're back. So
That's
you started,
interesting.
you were
Okay.
talking about your story of how you make it really easy for people in the very beginning of how you got where you are.
Yes, yes. So when we shared, I always share the story first. I don't know if you guys got to hear that, but I always say before I show you how this works or how this business works, let me just, kind of first tell you about what happened to me. Because at that point, what am I seeking to still do? I'm still seeking to connect because there may be something that I'm saying that may resonate with you. I'm far beyond the story of how I first got into this profession, but now that I'm here, let's say that I, have a brand new opportunity. I guess I can share that brand new opportunity, something that may be right for me in my life today, and that I can help to share with other people. Because as we grow and as we evolve, we still want to be able to authentically share ourselves. And I never share just all the glory. I take a degree and I share that maybe I had a little issue, or maybe I had some trouble. People can understand and they appreciate authenticity and to say, what, I was searching for a right fit for me. And I found it now, those types of things. And so I always break that barrier because on a conscious level, the conscious mind, no matter what, especially if it's somebody that's brand new and we don't know them very, very well, that person, on that level, maybe, have that wall up that says, is this the part where she's about to try to sell me something, right? And so we don't want that. We want to be able to make that connection and share the stories. And I'm always willing to share, and that's why I tell people, I didn't start off in this industry good. I started off making a lot of mistakes, and that's okay, because I want people to understand the truth. A lot of people go out here and they, act like they've just been overnight sensations. And, while there have been a couple of people that have in the industry, the majority of us get better and we work at it and we improve our skill set and we improve and we enhance our networks and we build more relationships. And so that's what I love to do. So when it comes to a person that you're just meeting or you're sharing your business with, I don't care if it's a person that you know or if it's a person that you're just getting to know, make sure that you start off with that phrase because that gets that part down that says, what, I'm open. I'm receptive. I want to hear what you have to say. And therefore, you have a more fair opportunity for them to evaluate whether or not your business is right for them. And it may not be, and that's okay. But the good news is it may be. And we want to give people the best opportunity to understand that we are connecting with them on a different level, not to sell them, but to build the friendship. And I also, one of the other things that I let people know that, this may not be for you. And if it's not, that is okay. We are still friends. And that's one of the things that's really important for me too, because I don't want people to feel that they have to avoid me in the future because they said, maybe this isn't a right fit for me. It might not be a right fit right now. It might be a right fit later, but it might not be a right fit at all. They might be happy with what they're doing and with where they're at, whether it's on their job or not. The other thing, and I want to make this point real quick, Robin, is I never put down people who want a job and have one. I think that there's room for everyone. Everything that we have. I mean, everything is important. And I found that a lot of times, jobs are being put down, and I'd never do that because there are some people that are very happy and fulfilled with, their regular jobs. And I always respect that too. But if there's something that they're looking for with extra income that they might end up in the future finding that they enjoy with us, I open that possibility up to if they're open to it. But in all that I do, I'm always respectful and honorable of the space that they're in.
Well, love, love, love it. And I know that when both you and I do this, and a lot of other people out there, and they say this may or may not be for you, and when it becomes clear that it's not a fit, people can kind of exhale and relax. And
Yeah.
many times I've noticed those are the people that refer people to us.
Yeah.
because they know we're not trying to push them into a place that's not a fit. We know they know that we care about what's in their best interest, and those long-term relationships have many other dimensions of value that we can't even begin to describe. So taking that time, and it does take time, but it makes such a difference up front when we're doing that. And when the shift that you went through was really a deeper posture, a deeper where you come from. So I'd love you to share more about that, because that's something that it happens. It's something we develop. It's something we practice. It's something that shifts. So if you can talk a little bit about that connection between energy, posture, belief, and how that impacts our results with what's happening in building those relationships and connections, Moni.
Yeah, that's such a great yeah, I love that, Robin, because it's so important to understand that when I know for me, when I shifted, it wasn't that I shifted my belief in my company because I believed in it. It wasn't that I shifted my belief in the product because I believed in that too. But what I did shift was from learning how to be a recruiter, right, to doing what I naturally do. I was able to exhale and not carry the pressure of how many people did I get into my business this week. It allowed me to better be me. And I think that the more people realize just how natural it is for us to connect to each other, for us to understand on a heart-centered level that we're pretty much all the same. We might have different, skin color, we might have different hair texture, we might even come from different backgrounds, live in different states, and so on, have different upbringings and so on. But at the core of who we all want the same things. We all want a good life. We all want, great family life. We all want to be prosperous so that we don't, have lack. We want to make sure that we can sustain ourselves. We want great, amazing friendships. We all want good health. So at the core of who we all want the same thing. And so when I removed all of the other stuff, like I could call it, it really, allowed me to focus on what the main thing was, and that was building, new friendships. And so when I came from that energy, I think that energy and that mindset is what shifted things more than anything. Because as we know in this industry, there are tons, thousands and thousands of companies, thousands of amazing companies, and that's why we're here to serve all of you. But at the bigger picture, at the end of the day, when we realize that we all want the same thing and that we're all about, the same thing, then it allows us to relax and to be natural and to make friends. And that is so, so, so important. Now, when it comes to belief, you do have to have belief, and you do have to believe in your company and your industry and what you're doing. Doubt, kills things. Just a little seed of doubt can really hurt things. But I will say this, when it came to, and Robin does this so well. That's why I said when she carries this energy, she doesn't have to try. She's genuinely interested in who you are. That's why when you notice that she'll get in there, she'll just smile and say, "How are you, honey?" And you really feel, oh, little, hi, you just feel warm and fuzzy, and it's fun, and you want to connect and you want to get to know her. And so when we look at those things, it's not, if you notice, it's not about how heavily I can recruit you. It's like, you know what? I found something really cool. I think that you might want to take a look at it. If it's not a fit, okay. But if it is, oh boy, would I love to work with you.
Love it, love it, love it. And being ourselves, and because some people see these great, successful people out there and want to be like them. And the message I'm hearing you say is we want to relax into being ourselves. And, I had to take a look at what was it that caused my success or made this profession actually such a good fit for me. And it's really, curiosity. I'm very curious about people, and I'm always asking questions about them and always wanting to get to know them. And that's just my nature, that is something that people can learn. And so it's something that, when you walk into a room, Moni, I know that people are just magnetized to you. And I've watched it happen. You attract, and what causes that is where you come from. It's that posture that you carry because you are authentically being you, and people want to be around that. And you have the sense of, light and joy around you, and people want more of that. So in our business, we'll say this over and over and over again, but to be really successful is to really be who you are, not trying to be who someone else is.
I
Like,
love that. I love that. That right there, we could end the hangout on that note, and you guys would have learned the secret. Because that's so true. We have so many times people will say, "Oh, I want to be like you when I grow up, and I hope I'll get to your level." And I think the biggest thing is embracing who you are. I mean, for a long time, I can say that I don't know that I embraced who I am the way I do today. I just, was always, what am I good enough? Am I thin enough? Am I, I used to go through those things, but when I relaxed and became comfortable in my own skin, the same thing happened with my business. I relaxed and became comfortable in my business because if I'm confident in that and I'm comfortable in that, then I don't have to feel embarrassment about sharing with you. I don't have to feel that I'm saying the wrong thing. Because I don't think that you can say the wrong thing to the right person. We say that all the time. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. But here's one of the things that and then Robin, I want to ask you a couple of questions if that's okay.
okay, of course.
So one of the things that I will say, when it comes to, just really, a lot of people get nervous when it comes to they'll share their business, but they get really nervous at the follow up. It's almost like, that's the part where it's like decision day, and it's like, dun, 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 I don't want to get to that point. But here's the thing that I do, especially if someone has shared with me, it depends on what they've shared. If they've shared with me that they're looking for another opportunity, or if there are extra money, or their career is at a dead end, or whatever, I listen very intently. That's the one thing. Like, I rarely miss a beat, so I listen and I'm fully present with that person, and I don't allow my mind to race towards hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. I want to share my business with you. I am very intentional on being there, present in that space, and so I'm listening, and I'm listening for their heart, and so I'll ask them if they say, I'm struggling to pay the bills, and I want to know, how does that make you feel? And so I ask the deeper questions. So I don't just ask, when we're doing form, I don't just ask, form. I might, I'll go a little bit deeper because I want to hear the full story. So if I'm asking about, how little Johnny is, or how little Susie is, or how the husband or the wife is, I'm asking, again, I'm going a little bit deeper into some questions. Are they still in baseball, or how is school going? I know that they were struggling, or so I ask, the questions that I remember, but I always want to know how people are feeling on an emotional level. Does this make you happy? How does that make you feel? And when I'm listening to that, at the end, when it's time to follow up, and when it's time for me, I always obviously schedule that follow up, especially if I know that I'm sending them to another material. But one of the things that I ask, because people at the end of the day, when I said we all want the same thing, they want to make their lives easier, right? And so I always ask them, so what will be easier for you? I asked that question. I want you to write that down. So what would be easier for you? Continuing on, in this struggle, or allowing me to teach you the skills to change your life forever? So what would be easier for you? Continuing going back, for the next 5 years on a job that you already said that is stressing you out, your blood pressure is high from it and so on, or, allowing me to show you a better way, a way that's really working for me and thousands of other people. So what would be easier for you? So I pose the question back to them. And now, because we have that heart-centered connection, I'm sharing with them that I know a way to ease things up for you. And I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be easy getting started, because you will have a learning curve. There will be things that you will need to develop your skill set at. But if you can see the next 5 years being better than than the previous 5 years, then I ask them, what will be easier for you? Continuing this path, or getting started with me today? And let's lock arms and do this. And that has been one of the best questions that I can ever ask anybody, because after I've listened intently, I want to know which path would be easiest for them, and then they give me the answer.
Well, I want to say wow, wow, wow on that one. And going back to what Terry Werner Hubb said last week, one of the keys to her success and having dramatic results with people having huge shifts in their life is being willing to ask the courageous question. Ask
Mm,
the questions that people aren't willing to ask themselves. And by you doing that, asking, would it be easier to stay in the current struggle or to learn something new so that down the road your life can truly be easier? And,
right.
it does take sometimes someone from the outside to be willing to ask those kinds of questions for people because it is a shift. One of the things I ask people to see if it's a fit for them is I ask them, are you ready to change now? I'm looking for people that are looking for what I have to offer. And I'm not here to try to convince anyone because it doesn't work. I'm sifting and sorting to see if it's the right fit. So I really want to ask that direct question. And from the way people answer, I'll really know what the next step is too.
Mhm. Mhm. So what are some of your favorite courageous questions, Robin?
Well, those are some of them. And when I get down to, if let's say we've had this conversation and they're really interested and we're ready to, move on, I might say something. So I'll say, Moni, you've mentioned that you're looking for a change. You've mentioned that you're ready for something new. So, looking at this situation that we're talking about and this opportunity on a scale of 1 to 10 or 0 to 10, 0 being this is not a fit for me, not interested, and 10, I'm ready to get started now. Where are you right now? What number is it?
Yeah.
And when I get an answer, it may be something like it may be a 0, it may be an 8. And so if someone says an 8, I know they're really interested. And I say, so Moni, what else do you need, to take things the next step? And
Mhm.
it may be, many times I've heard, well, I have a diabetic child and I want to make sure the ingredients are fit or whatever. And there is some information that they do need. But there's something that needs to be uncovered, and it helps people understand, and it helps both parties know where are we so it's really clear. You ever done that?
Yes, 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 yes. I love that. And I used to ask the scale of 1 to 10 question a lot. And I love that question because it helps you gauge where the person really is. And then it helps us to be able to ask further questions. Well, what can I do to help solidify that answer for you? Because generally, if they're not at a 10, 9 or 10, that's because they have, some additional questions or need a little bit more information. And so, yeah, that's something that I definitely do quite a bit. So, okay. Now, I was going to, Wise Women Weekly viewers, I was going to allow this just to be me answering the questions, but Robin has so much value. There is no way that I can get off of this episode without asking her some great questions. So, and I know she'll always be prepared because Robin is the ultimate professional. And so, given her history and everything that she has to offer, I just have to ask a few questions. And so, if that's okay, I'd like to do that.
Of course.
All right, so we've been talking about connection, and you know what I loved about you, Robin, is that I've been talking about connection for all this time, having no idea, even before we really got to know each other, that you were exactly the same, in terms of, being in alignment about, not seeking to close and all of those kinds of things. What do you have to add, as a professional in the industry about closing versus connecting?
Well, I love that because it's years ago, I was working in the field of career transition, and I have been called many times over the years, a great networker. And it really was an unconscious competence. And when I got asked at this career center to teach a class on networking, I had to really go from having an unconscious competence to a conscious competence. What is it that I do unconsciously to bring it more to a state where I can share it with others so they can do it too? So I had one of my bosses years and years and years ago. She says, you're really good at what you do, but you'll never be great until you can help other people do what you do. And
Mm.
that was quite profound. So what I really started doing is started watching myself and watching what it is I do when I'm connecting with people.
Mhm.
And what I noticed, and this is, kind of a long way around to answer your question, Moni, but what I noticed that I do naturally is, like I asked, like I mentioned before, I have this curiosity and I always ask questions about people. And we know the next question based on the answer to the last one. So you talked earlier about being really present and really interested, and people love to talk about themselves. And then, when you're asking where people are from or how many kids or whatever, looking for ways, again, to that magic word of connect. Like, oh, you're from the Midwest, so am I. Where are you from? It's good home stock there. And where'd you go? And when you find someone that, Moni lives in Columbus, Ohio. Well, I went to OSU and then I transferred to University of Michigan, and people that are from that area know what that means. And so all of a sudden there's a whole nother level of connection that
Yeah.
happens that you can't buy that. It just helps you get more involved with each other and more related at a personal level. And so when you do that with people and you find, and it could be, wow, I've got those same shoes, did you get those at so and so or whatever, or you give someone a compliment. But it's really looking for ways that you can, I hear often that people want to do business with people that they like. And people like people that are like them. And people want to do business with people that they trust. And so people trust people that care about them and take the time to learn and listen about them. So taking the time, like you've been talking about this whole time, to get to know what's important. There's some fun questions like, if I had a magic wand and you could have your lifestyle or your business just the way you want it, what would it be like? And what would it take to get there? What do you need more of? And so when you're, connecting with people and getting to know them and developing the relationship and finding out their hopes and dreams and finding out maybe, what are some of the restraining forces, what are some of the challenges that they deal with? Because sometimes, people want, like Moni says, a lot of people love their work. And a lot of people choose to be in a job because they need the benefits from being in a job, because they've got someone in the family that has, needs the medical support or whatever that may be. So looking for how can you make their life easier. I love that, Moni. And, I'm going to be using that. I love learning from you. It's so fun. And we did find out how aligned we are. So it's really that curiosity. And it is, we talked early on that it's never about, from our perspective, we don't overcome objections, we make connections. And Moni and I were talking earlier about how some people, do it the wrong way. And many times people have not been mentored in this business, and they do the best they can, and they kind of try to force people or kind of be forceful and, kind of are intrusive in their space, and they're not really being empathic for what's going on with people. And that's very common. So that kind of causes people to go, I've seen people walk in a room and I've seen people leave, when they saw this person coming because they knew they'd be all over them.
Yeah.
So we want to be a place where people want to be attracted to, because they know that what we're going to be is interested in them. And that's really, I think, the bottom line cornerstone key of what we've been talking about here. So was there something else you wanted to ask?
Of course.
All right.
There's always something that I want to learn from you. Yeah, I love how you said that, about, not being intrusive and going too far. And I think that one of the things that I've seen, so often that I've had to tell people to stop doing is that when people have some objection about the industry, to not be confrontational about it. And to not try to enter into, an argument or a debate. How do you handle that, Robin?
I love that question. 'Cause one of the things, if someone has a challenge with the industry or the profession or bad experience, I say, please, one of my favorite lines is, please help me understand. What's been your past experience? Where did that come from? I hear an edge in your voice. Did something happen in the past that gave you a bad taste? Or tell
Yeah.
me more. Because I really want to learn. And if someone, many times, this is a business like any other business, and it's people, and a lot of people jump in, and a lot of people don't get great support in the beginning. I know I didn't. Matter of fact, I was one of those over effusive people that kind of all over people, and I alienated people, and I learned the hard way. And I finally came around, like Moni says, it's not a smooth path for most of us, but if you're willing to be a student, and that's one of the questions I really ask people is, are you coachable? Are you willing to be a student? Because it can make, this is a different business model than conventional business. We're not experts here. We point to tools and systems, and we'll get into that in some other one of our calls. But I forgot your question, Moni. What it was?
That's okay because I wanted to lead into another one. I do want to lead into another one because on my mind right now, you talked about mentorship. And you ask people, are they willing to be coached, and are they willing to learn and to learn new skills, and that there's no underestimating the power and the importance of that. And sometimes people have had a mentor, or they may have had someone who has shared with them the business with them, and they might have had a bad experience with that mentor, or maybe that mentor and them just wasn't a good fit. What do you think is the importance of mentorship?
Wow, that's a huge question, and I really love that question, Moni. When looking for a mentor, it's someone first and foremost that shares values from my perspective, because I want to learn from someone who embodies what I want to be more like as a professional. And I remember hearing early on, find a mentor. So I did look around and I did find one. And in this business, the toughest part of this business is the people part. And people who, finding someone who handles people in a way that fits with your values from the level that you want to operate from is really, really important. And someone that has been successful. And successful from, there's many different definitions of success. So when I look for success, I look for the whole picture. And it's really not just, financial success in the business. It's that they embody the lifestyle that I want more of. And I remember years ago when I was a diamond in a company and I was working crazy hard and I had thousands of people and, it was crazy in my life. And this friend of mine, I might have shared this before on another one of our hangouts. She said, if that's what being a diamond's about, I don't want it. And that was a huge flag for me that I was not modeling or embodying the lifestyle. And so what we want to look for in a mentor is someone that really has the lifestyle, that they have, a balance, that they have, friends and family and health and all of those things fit together beautifully, that they're not stressed, that they're present. So finding someone that really embodies that and has those qualities and characteristics that you personally want to have deeper inside of you and come out so you can do that for other people. Because this is a business where, we reach up for support and then we reach down to support also. And it's really about how many people. I talked to someone who's going to be on our hangout soon. Her name is Margie Alaprandi, and we were on the phone the other day, and she said, I've never had this much fun helping people make money. She embodies the joy of this business model. And so when looking for a mentor, if joy is an important characteristic, find someone that has that joy. So really it's going to be different for different people. But really, bottom line for me is that there's a real solid alignment in the things that are really important in how you treat people, and that you come from the place that is in the highest and best for all concerned.
I love that. I love that answer. It's so beautiful because, I think a lot of times people don't know what to look for in a mentor, or in a coach. Some people say coach. I like mentor because, it allows that personalization, but I also like coaching, because, we are able to ask the right questions and to help each individual be the best that they can be, and that's really what it's all about. It's about listening, and it's about helping you to be able to carve out your unique footprint in your business. And that's the most beautiful footprint of all. It's not necessarily about becoming the clone of another person, but to take what's already beautiful and amazing and really incredible about you and helping to bring that out so that as you do go out to become a super connector, as you do go out to build your business, through this beautiful thing that we're calling connection, that you're successful at it and that you're comfortable with it and that most importantly, you're enjoying it along the way. And so Robin and I have been talking a lot about how we are serving here and what we're doing and what we're seeking. And so we've been spending a lot of time on the phone and really, just seeing what our intention is for this space. And it has been, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are listening, that it's been really, really awesome. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting together an incredibly powerful group coaching slash mentoring platform that you will be able to participate in. And I could not be more excited about it when I looked at all that Robin brings to the table and all the success that she's had and all the people that I bring to the table and the skills and success that I've had. And you think about bringing the two of us together and being able to have us as your mentors and coaches to really help you to be able to duplicate and hopefully even take it to a new level and new heights, even than what we've done. We really, really, really are excited about what we're doing here, and I cannot wait till we reveal it. Robin, what do you have to share? I don't know what
I,
thing, but I'm excited.
it is, it's thrilling to me because when you get to work with someone that's so aligned, like Moni and I are, we come from completely different worlds, and we found each other, and now we get to share and multiply it and bring it forth, and we both realize that we want to work with groups, and we want to work with those of you that want to, go deeper and do the deeper work and ask some more of those courageous questions. And I've been looking at who's coming up on our schedule, and we've got some really extraordinary people coming up that are going to do some deeper work with you. And so I invite you to just take a look if you're ready and let us know. You guys know how to reach us. If you're not on the Enlightened Networking Facebook page, we're actually going to be starting a new page. It'll be a Wise Women Weekly Facebook page, and it won't be a secret page. It'll be an open page, so it'll be easy for people to share and find. And we've got a lot of wonderful things unfolding that with technology, and we're stepping it up, guys and women. And we're very excited about that. And so the guests we have, next week we have a younger person coming on, and she's going to be talking about how to be relevant and build your business with younger people, because it's a different world. It's a different way to communicate. It's a different way to work with them and support them, because the longevity of our business will come from having many generations of people in our business. We also have, I'm very excited to share, this happened just yesterday, we have Sharon Lecter coming on at the end of October, and she co-authored all the Rich Dad, Poor Dad books, and she's an expert on financial literacy. She's been part of the President's Council for the last several presidents, and she wrote a brand new book called Think and Grow Rich for Women. So I'm saying this now, she's coming on at the end of October, for all of you to get the book, read the book, because she wants me to present questions. And I want to make sure I present questions after I read the book. So I invite all of you who want to participate to get the book, read the book, and send us the questions you want to ask. We have a 3-time Olympian coming on with how to think like an Olympian. Her name is Marilyn King, Passion, Vision, Action. We have an easyosophist coming on, how to live life with ease, or at least easier. Ann Gillis. We have so many wonderful people. We've got Andrea Waltz coming on, who authored Go for No. So exciting things happening in the future, and Moni and I are thrilled to hear from you of what would be of service to you, because if there are certain topics you want to make sure we cover, today was very, very important, because if we just make that simple shift, and it is a shift in our posture of where we come from, that mindset that we're not out to recruit people, our success will come from the connection, not the recruiting mindset. So we're thrilled to be with you, and we want to thank you for sharing this with you. There's a YouTube that happens after every hangout, and we have that on the site. So if you need any additional information to get connected, that's available too. Any final comments, Moni?
I just got super excited all over again by all that's happening within this Wise Women Weekly community. I mean, all of it's unfolding quickly and beautifully and amazingly. And, the way that we are seeking to serve all of you is just expanding, and I love it. And we cannot wait to have you all see what we've come up with and what we are designing especially for you. So stay tuned. We'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.